I'm Jessica Harris, and today we're going to talk about quindim, which is a wonderful dessert from northeastern Brazil. It's an egg yolky custard and a coconut bottom, and I like to think of them as being the love child between a flan and a macaroon. Well, because this is something that sets up really quickly, let's just start by making sure the pan is greased and ready to go. I went to Brazil for the first time in 1972, I think. It was just like I was finding home again. And I just fell in love. And quindim were part of that love story. Okay, tray's greased. Let's get working on the custard. Chickens have given for this dessert. We have a ton of egg yolks here. It's amazing. We're gonna have a dozen egg yolks and only 2 egg whites. We're gonna pour our egg yolks into a bowl, and what we're gonna do is press them through a strainer, because moving them through the strainer kind of makes them creamier and makes things lighter. But we still have those 10 egg whites that we haven't used, so I always tell my friends, next day, pavlova. We're making sure that all of the good yolky stuff is in the bowl and not on the strainer. And so now, it's real simple. It's basically sugar, frozen, unsweetened, shredded coconut, which is basically the closest thing to real grated coconut if you don't have time or access to grate it yourself. We've got butter and a little bit of salt. And then we have our egg yolks, which we're gonna add in 4 small amounts, just a quarter each time so that we can get it mixed through. Okay, well, one of the things that we can see is obviously the beauty of this beautiful yolky yellow. Quindim can be made with either refined sugar or with brown sugar. And the difference really is in that yolky yellow color. You will see that if you use the white sugar, you're going to get a much brighter color. Now we're going to work on our egg whites a little bit. And it's just simple. We are going to put in the 2 egg whites and whisk them for 1 to 2 minutes until it forms stiff peaks. Okay, we're good now. We're gonna fold the mixture into our batter. You can see that we've got this batter now that's a little loose. It's not a thick batter, but it's a batter where all of the ingredients are incorporated, and then the magic of a quindim is, as it bakes, they separate again. And that's what gives us the love child. We're ready to put these into our already greased muffin tins. A little ladle sometimes is the best way to do it because it'll keep them even. You're really only filling not quite the whole way up the tin to give it a little room to do its thing. Because what's gonna happen as they bake is when they come out of the oven, the thing that's going to be the surprise. I've called them a love child of a flan and a macaroon. As they unmold after they are cooked, you will see that they may be the love child, but then again, they have a little bit of an argument and they separate. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. And we're gonna put these almost into the oven. There's one more trick. Okay, well, this is the last step before it heads into the oven. And we're basically going to put the muffin tin into a pan, and we're going to add some water into a pan. Boiling water, hot water. In French, this would be called a bain-marie. It's called a hot water bath. I always like to think that Marie, whoever she was, liked her bath water warm. And the water is going to go halfway up the muffin tin. We do this because it helps the custard to cook evenly and to cook, at the same temperature throughout. And it also, I think, helps our quindim come out just delicious. We're now ready to put them into the oven, which has been preheated to 350 degrees. We're going to cook them for about a half an hour. And then we're almost ready to go. And then we'll be ready to taste these quindim. All right, well now this part can be a little tricky, so be careful because we've got a hot pan, we've got hot water, and I use a little spatula just to give me a little bit of a heads up on getting this out of the water bath so you can grab it. And then we're just going to take them and place them on a rack and let them sit for an hour before we unmold them. Okay, we're gonna free the quindim. And now we're gonna unmold them so you get to actually see this surprise that I've been talking about. And I'm gonna just help them a tiny little bit with this offset spatula just to be sure that they do what I want them to do. And here's a trick. You can use a cutting board, you can use all kinds of things, a sheet pan, but if you use your rack, you can actually see through it. So hopefully this is going to work. And here we go. Yeah, if you get into trouble, just give them a tap. I've got 6. I'm trying for the other 6. I've got 8, 11, and we're going to leave the 12th because he's just recalcitrant. But you can see the trick. And the marriage is that you've got the macaroon with the flan-like egg yolk, beautiful yellow mixture. And this bad boy is coming out. Voila. Managed to get them out without too much difficulty and intact. But if you're having trouble getting them or unmolding them, what you can do is dip the pan back in hot water for just a few minutes, and then that will release them. And you can just do the flip and they will come out and it will look like magic. Now these could be perfect with tea, afternoon tea, or even as a snack for anybody, but anybody who knows me knows I like them with champagne. So this is a perfect thing because the bubbles just cut the slight sweetness, they're not overly sweet, and you could even have a demi-sec champagne as opposed to the usual brut or sec that you might have. You get the richness of the egg yolk. You get a creamy sort ofness from the butter and the unctuous smoothness of the yolk. And it's contrasted with the wonderful, slightly chewy coconut that just makes a perfect combination. And then if you take a little sip of champagne, it all washes down beautifully.